Hey, we haven't done in almost a year.
A movie review.
Yeah, like a full-on section.
Oh, no, that's true. Sorry if I kept you waiting, but I'm
Kept
so.
you waiting, huh?
Kept
Well,
you
um,
waiting, huh?
this was a very last-minute decision, was it not?
I was supposed it was, yes. We were
But
just interested in this movie, and we thought, hey, it'd be cool to talk about.
yeah, um, and to be fully honest, we kind of wanted to kick this back into gear, and I think we can. You want to say it? I think we're
We
gonna
can.
be doing Ratatouille next.
Ah, oh, there we go. Shit. Sorry. Hey, spoilers, guys.
Spoilers, but I think we're gonna be doing Ratatouille after this one.
Ooh, what a tease.
What a tease indeed. But yeah, so you want to do this non-spoiler and then spoiler?
I'd say so, yeah. People are still watching this movie. Came
Yeah,
out
this movie just came out.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So, Knock at the Cabin is directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Rupert Grint, and those are all the actors I know by name.
It's quite the cast.
It's a cast. It's not a big cast. It's a
I
cast.
say quite because they do stuff in this movie.
Yes. Um. And this movie is about a some parents who go to a cabin for a retreat, and they take their adopted daughter with them. And um, at this cabin, a man appears named Leonard, who essentially, with his, three other associates, essentially take hostage of the family and tell them that they need to make a choice. And if they don't, the end of the world will occur.
Hmm.
And that
Should we
is
say what the choice is right now, or
the choice would be to sacrifice one of the three people that they took hostage, being the parents and their daughter.
Mhm.
And that is the basic premise of the film.
Yes?
Um, what did you think of the film without
So,
spoiling?
uh, I ended up pretty much liking the movie, surprisingly enough. Uh, it's not perfect, of course. I barely struggle to call it even like it's it's teetering at average at best, but I could totally be convinced that it could go lower down. But I don't know. I just really ended up liking the movie from start to finish. At points, I had issues. Well, my own issues, of course, even watching the movie. But I don't know. I found it a very pleasant watch with everything that it had to say. Some of the characters, the acting I thought was really good and phenomenal. I was very impressed with some of these people that I never seen in the movie before, and I want to see more of them. Honestly, they're very good, very charismatic. They carry the scenes that they're on, really a lot of emotions in them, and I was pretty impressed in that aspect of the movie. But yeah, I have problems, of course, and we'll definitely get into them as the movie goes along. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty pleasant watch, and I'm glad that I saw it. I'm still thinking about it even now, about how I feel about it, or and everything that happens in it. And yeah,
Um,
I go and see it again.
I also want to see it again, but I think it's because I was not as fond of this film as you were. Um, I felt while the performances were good, I think there is definite cases in this film of Shyamalan acting. Um,
Be a little cool, right?
hmm?
Be a little cool, right?
With particularly uh, the daughter and with one of the characters who we'll talk about later.
When
Yeah, the daughter Wen. Um, For me, I don't think much of the dialogue was quite up to par. It does feel this movie had three writers. It's pretty upfront with, and I think
Oh,
it does feel like three writers.
like tell me, tell me about it. It does have that some very questionable dialogue.
hmm Which Shyamalan is known for.
Yes, didn't always used to be known for that, you know.
There is some very questionable dialogue in here. For me, my main issues come with its structure.
Yes, that's
The way the film's narrative is told, I think, really hinders the movie and took a lot of my enjoyment out of it.
yes. Yeah, I
Um,
wanted. I don't know if I wanted to say it outright, but yeah,
saying the movie has narrative structure isn't a spoiler.
yeah.
It's narrative structure issues. I think that's pretty safe to say
No
without spoiling
spoilers.
anything.
I meant more like how we ourselves are structuring this review. I didn't know if we were gonna s- say our biggest issues outright and then afterwards, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's not a spoiler thing, but that's just my particular biggest issue. I think we'll talk about it a little later, obviously. But that's just kind of my biggest issue with the film and some of its messaging, which I think the film is. I'm not a fan of its quote unquote twists. I'm not. I don't think I'm a fan of that. I think it literally, as soon as it's said in the movie, I think I literally like went, like you grabbed like the temple of your nose
Okay, Shyamalan.
and you kind of just like close your eyes and go, okay. Like I,
What? It's a Shyamalan twist. What can you say?
yeah. But for Shyamalan twist goes, this one's rather tame, but still, I would say it's. I was not a particular fan of the film's ending, or not
It
the movie,
almost
not the ending, but the twist in general. I wasn't a big
honestly,
fan
it
of.
the twist itself might, if we mean the same thing, it might itself really hinder the movie a lot. It actually almost kind of breaks it.
Well, I think we'll talk about it later. 'Cause I'm not
Yes.
sure I know what you mean, but it depends on whether or not they mean it literally or figuratively.
And I mean it literally, but I think they fucked it up that way. But yeah.
I'm not sure if they mean it literally, and that's the problem. But that's kind of my biggest issue with the film. Obviously, we don't have to give scores yet, but there's also little things I think in the movie. There's little things that they say and stuff that they point out that's never addressed after it's said. And there was a particular issue I had with some information that was given to the audience that my dad picked up on, because I saw this with my dad. We both walked out, and I was like, I did notice this one thing, and he's like, I saw that too, and I was like, okay, I know, at least I'm not alone on that. But we'll talk about that later because that is spoiler. That is a particular spoiler. Um, but I think honestly, the biggest strengths of the film are it's pretty good tension. It's a movie that's an hour and 40 minutes, and it never lets up. It's pretty much always tense. I don't know if we can agree on that, but that's what I think. Um,
Yeah. Some
um,
good tension, let's say.
it's for me. It's kind of a 50-50 in turn, like a positive and a negative. It's a positive because I was invested enough in the film that I could feel tense, but I wasn't invested enough to truly care. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but it's like I was watching it and I was actually really surprised with what Shyamalan was doing behind the camera. I thought he was doing some really interesting stuff. Something stuff that you don't actually. I can't think of any other time I've seen him use the camera in this way and play with it. Um, in terms of what he decides to shoot, how he moves the camera around, and what he does. I thought this is maybe his most competently directed film in years. It's maybe Split. I think this is his best movie since Split, but um, I think is there no argument there?
No, not from me. I didn't like Lasso that much, and I haven't seen Old.
Old, I
It
didn't
was
like
called,
Old.
right?
Yeah, I didn't like Old. Um, yeah, no, I'm kind of lukewarm on this film. I think it's what really holds it up is a really great tension, some good filmmaking, and Dave Bautista.
Truly,
Hmm?
truly.
I mean, truly, Dave Bautista is amazing in this movie.
Hmm.
Like,
I think everybody is amazing. Well, not the girl, but no.
But I really, I don't know. I think I have to see this again before I make any full, complete judgment calls. But what I'll say in this review is essentially just kind of what I'm feeling at the moment about the film. I'm not. I'm not. This will be the one time I don't think I'm definitive on what I'm saying. Like I'm definitive in my thoughts. So
Yeah.
I think I've said enough. Is there anything else you would like to add? I know I took a lot of your. I took a lot of the wind out of your sails, but
Yeah, no, I think just echo some of what you said. Yeah, the structure of the movie was very odd. My biggest issue also.
yeah, I think it
But
was a decent idea on paper, but I don't think it was executed well.
it was to their detriment. If I were to say something, I think, well, I think that it could have benefited from being at least 10 minutes longer. And
Um,
I'm not sure it would have helped the structure. They still need to,
no, the movie would still have a structure
yeah,
if it was the
still have a
exact
structure issue,
same.
but they could have a little more to add to make me care a little bit more. Because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it was lacking some of that with what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can understand that. But yeah, I mean that's basically what I'm thinking right now. You want to give a let's give a quick 10 seconds before we jump into spoilers, huh?
54, 55, 100, 300, 70,
All right, I think
50.
let's jump right in.
I was at 50, damn it.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah, if you haven't
Spoiler
seen the
time.
film at this point, you were warned.
You have been warned.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. So when I mentioned my particular issue with information that was told, there are two scenes in the film where information is spoken to us, and then almost immediate. Well, one thing I think they just did this for the sake of the film, and then the other one, there's a legitimate scene where something is spoken to us, and then I felt like it was completely dropped and never talked about again. Um, the one that I felt was dropped was the stuff about the newscasting with the virus.
Mhm.
Andrew mentions that the newscast of the virus was pre recorded footage.
Uh-huh.
Like he yells it out loud. He makes a big deal about how that was pre recorded footage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it's dropped. And he doesn't it's never brought up again.
Uh,
I know it was done to like put the seed like continue the seeds of doubt in the audience, but you can't
hold
just
on.
drop that and then leave it alone.
So you think they should have brought it back
I
for the
think it should have
third
been brought up again.
casting? So he should
Well,
have
because
said,
he
and
talks about it, but then
right.
it's never really brought up again because it's a legitimate point against them. Because everything else was kind of countered and understandable. That's the
Yeah.
one thing that never got countered was the legitimacy of the footage
I
and
mean,
the not the footage, the newscast.
I'll say again.
Sorry, I didn't mean the footage. I meant the newscast
Newscast. That
when the
everything.
virus comes.
Huh. Pre-recorded footage. Yeah.
Because yeah, it's mentioned that it was pre-recorded footage.
Well,
Because he saw a detail in the newscast and was like, "This is recorded footage. This is pre-recorded."
mhm. uh, so how do you think it should have been brought back? Like,
If anything, it could have just been addressed by Leonard and the other. I'm forgetting all the other characters' names other than Redmond. Um, I feel like that could have been brought up later, or even anything if Eric himself could have countered it. which I don't remember him doing.
He at a point where Eric was starting to realize that he goes, all of this, you think they're gonna go to all that effort just to for that? That's basically his counter argument to all of that, like during the end. But I'm drawing blanks on this point, honestly.
Yeah. It could have just been brought up again, or even in the same scene, Leonard could have more outwardly countered it. But again, that was an issue I had. Another one that is a legitimate like issue, I think, with the film. You remember the scene where the newscast is shown of the tsunami,
Yeah,
and it cuts to on the ground footage?
yeah.
How'd they get that footage?
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know. I was thinking about it too, and like, is that a live stream maybe? But
That was the only rationale me and my dad could come up with for how they got that footage, is if it was a live stream. Because for that footage to be gotten on air, somebody would have had to found the phone out of the water,
yeah,
uploaded the footage, or first gotten into the phone, then first they would have to found the phone. Hopefully it works. If it works, they have to get into the phone. Okay, once they get into the phone, they got to find the video. Okay, then they got to upload the video, and then they got to send it over to the newscaster, who's then they got to take the time to write a segment for it, and then have it ready to premiere on air. There is a series of things that need to happen before that footage gets
yeah.
shown on the air.
Here's the thing: a lot of the news happened way too fucking quickly.
Absolutely. So much of the news is happening so fast. And I'm like, that's not how the news works.
Yeah, yeah.
As somebody who's not worked in the news but has done some studies and worked a little bit with newscasting, I can understand that this is not the speed at which newscasting works.
Mhm.
There is a legitimate, it can happen fast, but there is a legitimate process of elimination that needs to be done before something is shown on air.
Yeah.
I think the movie it did enough of a job. It did
Maybe
enough a job to have you feel in the moment, but if you
here's the thing:
think about that for any more than like a minute, it breaks.
this is probably easily fixed if they switch to different news channels that are covering different topics.
You know what? No, what's even easier way to fix that? You don't use on the ground footage. Use helicopter shot.
Yeah.
Literally, that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, why didn't they just cut to a helicopter shot? It's the same
Wait, wait.
impact.
So wait, wait. So I mean, so there would have been a helicopter during the tsunami at that point
It's
in
a
period
it's
in
a
time.
more believable
Is
it's
it?
more believable than somebody getting that footage from a phone.
Well, so it's like the news helicopter was just known that tsunami was gonna happen, and then it was just ended up there.
They somehow knew that there was there was another situation where there was a helicopter in a shot. I don't remember what it was. Was it with the earthquakes or the volcanic activity? I forget what it was. I'm
Well,
pretty sure there's another scene in the
earthquakes
film where they
happened with
use
the.
like an helicopter shot.
I don't remember it
I could be
honestly.
wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, there were clips of them showing flooded parts, I believe, in helicopters, but the tsunami, of course, happened before the what happened in Oregon or Portland. That's the same shit
The
that
tsunami.
happened in Oregon. Yeah, the tsunami happened in Oregon, I believe,
It was an
or something.
island. It was an
It
island.
was on an island. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it happened. But
They said a specific island, but I don't for the life of me
yeah,
remember what it was. Yeah.
and that is a good point with the whole phone thing, capturing all of that footage.
Yeah.
But
It's like with other footage of like like with the flooding and with the earthquake activity and stuff like that. That's easily obtainable footage. Like that, there's not much gap of logic there. Like that's a reasonable footage to get. But the specific one of the tsunami just bothered me as soon as it happened. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But okay, movie.
it's a relatively minor issue. It doesn't really change the film all that much. But it's a way for them to see what's happening with the
Yeah, it's a way
tsunami,
for them to
but
see what's happening. But I just wish there was a more,
coherent way.
for lack of a better word, logical way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not one to lean on the logical too much, but in a situation where it's just outwardly like bothering me, who has some small amount of knowledge on the subject, I went, okay, that's not how that works, based on what I
Again,
know.
could be a live stream, but then
Yeah,
where's the
if it
chat?
was
Where's the
literally
chat?
just like it was it was a Twitter stream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine,
Yeah.
fine. Answered my question. Wipe my hands with it. But they didn't say that. They offered no explanation for how they got the footage. Because usually in newscasting, they'll say where they got the footage. But they needed to see. They needed to see what it was. So,
Perfect, guys. This is very disturbing.
I'm willing to let it go, but it's still like a thing that's gonna bother me when I see the movie again. But yeah, I guess both of our main issues here is the structure of the film, because the movie is not told chronologically.
Yeah.
And it's so
Well,
I wrote down a specific example, I think, that like details what's wrong with the film structure.
I think we should clarify it. The main story that we see is told
Yes,
chronologically. It's just not the flashbacks.
but there are flashbacks for the couple's relationship and what they've gone through.
Mhm.
Some of them I'm okay with them being flashbacks. Like, that's fine. I think putting those at the beginning of the story, no, it's not, you can, but it's actually fine if you put them in flashbacks in the middle of the movie. But specifically what I wrote down was, there's one scene that comes in the middle of the film that sets up how the family got to the cabin. But since it plays no further point to the current narrative as of what's going on in the story, I don't understand why it was put there and not where it was chronologically placed in the film's timeline. So you remember the scene? I don't remember what exactly the cut was, but something happened, and then they cut to the family getting to the cabin, and then taking a dive in the water. Why was that placed there?
I don't know. That's the
How
thing.
was that like more than halfway through the movie?
A lot of exactly. A lot of scenes, flashback scenes
Are just kind of pointless. That
Like
don't really
the
fit.
flashback of the bar with Redmond, that was fine towards the end of the movie, because that actually builds up to when Andrew grabs the wallet and finds the ID.
Yeah.
That's fine. Scenes of Andrew and Eric adopting Wen, playing a little later. That's fine. You don't need that right at the beginning of the movie. But you should have started with them getting to the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't. You just have a random cut in like the middle of the movie where they're getting to the cabin, and it's just like, okay, why is this placed here? Why are we going from? If you look at the way the flashbacks are set up, you start with Eric and Andrew meeting Andrew's parents.
Yeah,
right.
Meeting his parents.
Okay. Then you get Eric and Andrew adopting Wen. And then you get Eric, Andrew, and Wen getting to the cabin. And then you get Eric and Andrew at the bar in Massachusetts, where Redmond beats the shit out of Andrew with a glass bottle.
Yeah. Then you get him.
And then you get another flashback of Andrew's. You get like a montage cut flashback of Andrew's anger and him getting the gun.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I said that. Is how the timeline, the flashbacks are laid out. That's the order of which they're shown to us.
Yeah.
And they're shown at random intervals. It's like, it's not a set like, okay, we've gone like 15, 20 minutes. Now we get another flashback. It's just like randomly we suddenly get a flashback. And
they don't particularly serve too much purpose either. Not most of them, at least.
No. Like some of them, like it's fine for Eric and Andrew's character. Like there's those characters, like that's fine. Like them adopting Wen and then meeting the parents and stuff like that, and showcasing Eric's anger. not Eric Andrews' anger and him getting
Yeah,
the
but
gun. Like that's
they need the
fine.
end of the film. Wait, they do need the end of the film. Like they already established the gun that he has. They already established that when
Mhm.
they were breaking into the cabin.
Yep.
They said, "I have a gun. You brought it with you? Yeah, it's in the car." But they didn't
Yep.
know that. That already happened. You don't need to show us him getting the gun afterwards in the flashback. If anything, you should have done it beforehand or anything or something. But yeah,
There's scenes in here that like conceptually work, but they didn't fit into the narrative well. Like there was feels like they had these scenes but they didn't want to cut them, so they just threw them in somewhere.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, why? But that was my biggest issue
I don't
with the
know.
film.
At some point, I probably felt like they're padding for time, but I couldn't
It was
figure out why they
already
structured it
an
this
hour
way.
and 40. What time were they padded?
Exactly. I didn't get it.
But with it being an hour and 40, it is pretty in and out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't exactly say it went by fast, but it wasn't a boring movie at any point.
Oh, for sure. Definitely not. I think there's Hmm. So onto my point on why it probably should have been a little longer, like 10 more minutes.
Mhm.
10 more minutes. Was that I would have added like more flashbacks during those 10 minutes to give us some further insight into the characters of Andrew, Eric, and even Juan. Because well, other than her actors being really bad, sorry, uh, I didn't get too much out of Juan, honestly. She felt like a pretty, I don't want to say
She's a
one note.
Shyamalan kid.
Yeah. But I like some Shyamalan kids, like the kid from Unbreakable, the kid from Sixth Sense.
Those are the two good ones.
Those are the two good ones. Anna Taylor-Joy from Split. She's a kid, technically.
Teenager.
Child, yeah. Teenager, yeah.
Um,
They,
well, the kids from The Visit are okay.
I haven't seen The Visit.
The Visit's actually not that bad.
Cool, nice. Uh, but yeah, should have probably would have added some scenes more on like establishing their. Well, we already know they love each other very, very much. Usually, they make a point of that.
Yeah, yeah. That
Would
was never
appreciate
doubted.
never doubt it, but I would have appreciated some more scenes with that structured a little bit better.
Yeah. Mm.
Like what I liked about the bar scene at first was Eric and Andre talking about the things that they hated
Andrew.
that they dislike. Huh?
Andrew.
What did I say?
You said Andre.
Oh, my bad. Eric
Sorry.
and Andrew uh talking about the things that they dislike about each other.
Hmm.
I like that scene. I would have liked it a little better. This is what I'm talking. This is my headcanon where there could have been a flashback involving them maybe a little bit before they start fully dating, and we see some outbursts from Andrew dealing with some, I don't know, someone who he perceives as homophobic perhaps, and he acts out in anger, and then you could build it up to that flashback where they're talking about each other and the things they don't like of each other. That being Eric's issues with Andre's anger, could have paid it off in that scene, which would have led to Andrew during the montage with the boxing
I
in the gym and then getting the gun.
I understand that, but I think the point of showcasing his anger after the bar scene is to show how that affected him. I think that was to show that he didn't want to be helpless. He wanted to fight, and that gave him a lot of anger because he's already dealing with all the stuff with his parents, who are incredibly homophobic.
Yeah,
They
no,
made
yeah,
a point to say that like they drove 7 hours, stayed for 40 minutes,
yeah,
or at least the father is, and
yeah.
so he's already got anger built up. He's got a lot of pent up rage. So I think showcasing that scene, having the montage and him getting the gun and all that afterward was a good way of showing his rage, his anger. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I understood the point. Uh, Probably would have benefited from more flashbacks where people are a little more disrespectful towards the couple, because I didn't really get any of that where people, other than the parents, like outright hated them for being gay, anything like that. Because that was like one of Andrew's biggest defense mechanisms to the whole situation of the people attacking them was that they're just homophobic. They're none
But
of the
that was
shit is
shot
real.
down very quick. Yeah.
Yeah, but he still kept going at it. You guys are hateful. You guys are some religious nut jobs. That was like his biggest like go to defense of the whole situation.
Yeah.
Like his biggest denial of the truth being truth. So yeah, maybe I would appreciate more scenes about that because I don't think the bar scene is that at all. I think it's generally a misunderstanding from both parties' fault and Redmond, quote unquote, being drunk. Yeah, oh my Jesus Christ, he beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, like Jesus with a broken glass bottle.
Yeah, broke it over his head, and then
Another thing with the filmmaking, this movie's only rated R because of a couple swears, or quite a few swears,
well,
quite a few F
and
bombs.
you know, a little some pretty bad, like not gory, just
But you
some
notice that
messed up scenes.
anytime violence was on screen, the camera moved away.
It moved away, but like they showed some of the aftermath.
I mean, you can see some of this shit on Law and Order,
Yeah, you could.
and that's daytime TV. So.
Well, I also wonder if they made it rated R for the
No, go ahead, sorry.
the disaster scenes also.
No,
Like the
I
planes
feel
falling.
like we could have seen worse in a PG-13 movie.
I'll say I felt like a cop out during the whole plague scene. Felt like a cop out with all the famine going around and making people sick. It felt like a cop out. I was like, it's kind of just happened, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There were scenes in the cabin where I thought were kind of dumb. It was weird how nobody paid attention to Mel. That's not her name. Fucking hell, Jesus. I had it. Hold on. Don't remind me. I know her name. I got it. When? There we go. When?
Oh.
Yeah, when they weren't paying attention to when, and then she left the cabin.
Yeah.
Whooped you to surprise. Well, luckily they found her, but you probably could have cut that scene out.
Oh yeah. The one where she leaves the
Yeah, gets away for like a little bit and they catch her.
Yeah. You probably didn't need that scene. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, probably didn't need it, and it was dumb how they just forgot about her completely, even though she's important to the whole plan. Hello.
Yeah. No.
Something I was confused about.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks at home, the movie is about them having to sacrifice one of the family, and Andrew, Eric, and Wen decide to sacrifice one or the other. If not, something in the apocalypse will happen.
It was never explicitly stated that all three of them had to decide.
No, yeah, not all three of them.
But one of them had to go.
Yeah, and they had to decide. Well, not each of them, because
somebody had to decide. One of the three had to decide.
Well, based on the ending, it felt like Wen already decided for them because she said, spoilers, Eric dies. He's the one that gets sacrificed. Because when Andrew comes to the treehouse, she goes, did Daddy Eric save the world? Which is, oh, that's nice. It felt like she decided herself. Because she had an idea in her mind, like, it will be one of them.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, he says to her, go and stay in the treehouse until one of us comes and gets you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of just like a saying, but like, yeah, in the particular situation, the use of the phrase "one of us,"
I guess she knew
kind
at
of
that
peculiar. It's kind of peculiar.
Yeah. Where was I going with this? Oh, yes. So yeah, that's like the purpose of the four people's job. That being Leonard, Redmond, Adrian, and Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
And how every time they said no, one of them being Leonard, Redmond, Sabrina, and Adrian would be sacrificed to show the effects of the end of the world.
Why did they need
Here's
to
my
be
question.
sacrificed?
Exactly. Why did they need to be sacrificed? Why the Redmond was the one that died first.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he need to die? What if they didn't kill him? What would have happened?
Would the plague have not gone off?
The first thing that happens is the tsunami. So yeah, would the tsunami not have gone off? Would the earthquakes, all of that stuff? Well, what happens then?
Yeah, I did also have that thought. I was like, why did they need to be sacrificed?
Yeah,
Um,
because it seems from the movie's communication is that them killing each other causes the apocalypse to happen individually every time
Mhm.
one of them dies, right? That's what it looked like to me, right?
I don't know. It seemed like it was supposed to happen regardless, which is why I'm like, why do they need to be sacrificed?
It's related to the twist that Eric unveils to Andrew. Like that's related to
Yeah.
it. But like at that point, I'm like, then why does that need to happen at that?
And the twist being they're if they're
They
not
are
the literal embodiment of them, they are the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
which it was malice,
Malice,
nursery,
nurturing, healing, and teaching.
guidance, but
Guidance. Sorry, guidance.
nursery, healing, but that's the same thing.
Nurturing.
Nurturing.
I say
healing.
you saying nursery. It was nurturing, is what he said.
Yeah,
Adrian is nurturing. Redmond is malice. Leonard is guidance, and Sabrina was healing.
Right. All right. There we go. That's not. Here's the thing. That's not the four horsemen that I'm familiar with in most media. Maybe there's more than one that I don't know about. But
I was caught completely unawares. So
horsemen that I'm always aware of are. Try to remember. It's death, famine, conquest, and war. Those are the ones that I know about that I remember, at least. So, with that in mind, how exactly are each of these deaths related to the events that happen in the film when the world goes to shit?
well, what happens when Redmond
The tsunami
dies?
happens.
The tsunami happens. When Adrian dies, it's the
It's the
earthquakes.
plague. It's the plague.
I thought it was it was the plague. And then when Sabrina dies, it's the
planes falling from the
planes
sky.
crashing. And when Leonard dies, it's
The whole world ends.
The whole world ends.
So I'm not sure how they're related particularly.
Yeah.
Because if I can go to the ones that I know about, well, famine is the most obvious one, at least with the plague happening.
Mhm.
Death, from my recollection, is everyone dies. I'm not familiar with war and conquest, but regardless, I do not understand the allegory between the four horsemen of death in Knock at the Cabin between what happens in the film, like the events that relate to it. I don't see the connection between each of them. I kind of hope they would explain it in the movie because
they drop it on you in the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is. It was Eric who figured it out because he saw God or something.
He saw something. He saw a shadow, and I guess it led him to that conclusion.
He saw a shadowy figure, whoever that was.
Yeah, as soon as he said they're the four horsemen of the apocalypse, I
That was the.
I went, oh, come on. Because here's the thing, I don't think they're the literal four horsemen.
But at that point, how can we go to now? Of course, not literally, probably not. But like, their deaths cost the events.
So do we know that?
Well, that's what we saw.
But we were not given any explicit evidence to support that if they didn't die, these things wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not very clear, but
No.
from what we saw, like I'm basing it from what I saw in the film. Every time they died, the things happened, or unless they just happened to die at the very exact moments that things happened. Like it's quite mad.
And even the movie points out that some of this stuff is just ultra convenient.
Yeah,
Like they
like
literally have Andrew as as the as the embodiment of what the fuck. Explain this shit, please.
please.
He's like, that's mighty convenient. And I'm like, well, thank you. Somebody's saying it, but answer
Yes.
that. No, you're not going to. Okay.
I guess I can put all of that to the mystical element of the movie, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Because some magic shit happens, bro. It's crazy. But yeah, is very odd. Like think about when Raymond dies.
Redmond.
Redmond, yeah, Redmond. When Redmond dies,
Mhm.
minutes, like barely minutes before, before that, after that, there's an earthquake and a tsunami, a big ass tsunami, actually a bunch of them in the world. So like, if I was to go with that, then yeah, maybe them dying causes it. But what force is driving? What force is driving them to do that? I don't need.
Yes.
I don't.
I mean, I don't need the answers to that,
I
but
don't know if I need the answer to that, but I need something more coherent that makes it make a little more sense to me.
yeah.
Yeah, it's it's very strange.
Yeah.
This movie.
Yeah, very. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, as we said earlier, it did kind of feel like this movie had. It felt like it had three writers.
Yeah.
So when I saw that come up, I was like, oh, okay. Shyamalan's not the sole writer. That could be interesting. And then it was, but I don't mean that negatively. Uh, I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of obvious. There was a lot of hands on this thing. Even for something that was made pretty quickly. Like, Old came out not even 2 years ago.
Really? Oh,
Yeah. Old came out in 2021.
yeah.
So it's,
It was like a wild. It feels like a
yeah,
long time.
it's like a long time, but really wasn't that long ago. So,
Maybe he was working it during all that like same time. Maybe.
yeah. Well, Old was supposed to come out in 2020.
Oh really?
Yep.
Well, shit.
Yeah. And it didn't. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense how he could make a movie pretty quickly. But I don't know. That was an interesting thing. But
Uh,
it's
I think
it's
I'm willing to get into what I liked about the movie, but I'm trying to think of more of the issues that I had, other than the structure and some of the shit that didn't make much sense. That
yeah, I
made me
can't really think of
question a lot of
anything
shit.
else.
Ah, yeah. I failed to see the purpose of the opening title sequence, showing all of that imagery with the papers and all those
Oh,
drawings.
it's all the drawings that Leonard, Adrian, Sabrina, and Redmond had. All the visions
Yeah,
they had.
all the visions they had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, all right.
yeah. I was wondering what that was too, and then later he mentions that they had visions and they were kind of drawing it,
It's
and
probably
they
good
they
enough.
met they've met up on a message board and found each other that way.
That's probably good enough.
I could be misremembering the dialogue, but I do remember him mentioning something about that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I kind of want to see that movie. How creepy can you get, Shyamalan?
He's got a TV show apparently on Apple Plus. That's pretty good.
Whoa, what is it called?
Servant.
The Servant. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but it's got Rupert
Yeah.
Grint in it.
Yes, that's like the thing that I see him on now. Good to see him working.
Yeah.
In a minute.
It's in a decade.
Has it really been that long? Holy shit.
I think so.
But yeah, I guess I can get into what I liked about it.
Yeah.
I liked Andrew and Eric in their relationship. I liked how Andrew was trying to do his best to even not even believe the shit they were talking about. The four horsemen. But oh my God, he was trying uh, he was pretty rational at first, being like, nah, it's all bullshit. And then as his truth started to reveal itself a little more, he was making whatever excuse he could, so he didn't have to make that choice. So nobody had to make that choice. Um, yeah, and then I liked how it came to a point with Eric that came to the conclusion that yeah, this is all true. We have to do something about this, or yeah.
Yeah.
And I really liked how in the end Andrew was practically begging as to why they shouldn't sacrifice to one another because of all of his life experiences he's gone through with all the hate he's dealt with, all the abandonment, and how Eric is like the only person, I guess, in the world that loves him. That's what he believes, at least. Same with Wen.
Yeah. I think it was
It
when he
got
tells him, he was like, I saw when and older. I saw you older.
Yeah.
And you guys are fine.
Yeah. It kind of got me, honestly. Like I gotta tug at the heartstrings. Honestly, I think it was pretty quite wholesome and nice. And I like Eric too. I like how I guess he was trying to be like the most reasonable of the bunch,
Because Andrew
but
was just
he
very angry and wasn't willing to
very
even
angry. Yeah,
hear them. Yeah.
very stubborn. But Eric was like trying his best to do what he could. He was listening to them, unlike Andrew.
Yeah.
And even he had his own doubts. Like, yeah, this is crazy, but he started to see the truth, and he couldn't deny it, unlike Andrew.
Mhm.
And I like his conclusion towards the end of that he was at peace with himself afterwards. He was at peace with knowing that Eric and Wen would be okay without them in a world where they didn't have to live for eternity through this terrible hellscape. I imagine.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Honestly, for a second, I swear to God, I thought I was gonna be really pissed if this happened. I thought it was too late and that they killed Eric for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought that. I was like, oh no.
That would have been a Shyamalan twist.
That would have been a Shyamalan, and I would have hated him forever. Would have called him homophobic, that he hates gay people. Would have said that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I lived with him. I really like Leonard. I think he's great, bro. Really like him. I
There
like.
was one part of the movie. You remember the part where he smashes the window
Yeah,
and the camera shows like the window?
yeah.
I literally turned to my dad and we both looked at each other and went, his big ass ain't fitting through that.
Yeah.
Like we both literally looked at each other and were like, they better not have said that's what he did because his big ass didn't fit through that.
Realistically, he would have broken through the wall.
Yeah. And then they do the thing where he was in the shower. He was in the shower curtains.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I was ready to be like, come on.
Come on, bro. Yeah. I'm glad that this big 6'4" tall man won the fight with with Andrew. But yeah, I like Leonard. He gives this friendly giant vibe energy. He looks pretty intimidating, but like he's a really nice guy who hates the situation that he's been thrown into, and he hates that he's putting these people in this bad situation, and he's trying to be as reasonable as he can with them, as kind as he can with them, because he likes his people. He likes their daughter. He likes, he likes them. He likes it's a nice family. He says it many times. You're a nice family. He calls them friends also.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just like that he was like doing the best that he could, especially with the others around him, like Redmond, Adrian, and Sabrina, which I like. I like them also. Redmond was a little short-lived.
Yeah.
Poor man, poor guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Leonard a lot. Uh, huge. I liked it when after all of them killed Redmond, they went into panic mode. Leonard
Mhm.
threw up. Sabrina and Adrian were having panic attacks. Yeah, because shows you clearly that they don't want to do this. It's like their first time doing this shit.
Mhm.
And, yeah, also good acting from everyone's parts. Like I said before, uh, if I could, well, other than Batista killing Adrian the whole film, if I could know something from like a really good acting part, it's when Andrew had to kill Eric. His lip, his lip was quivering.
His lip was
Uh,
quivering a lot in this movie.
yeah.
His breathing was like very intense.
Oh yeah, bro. And there he was like, I don't
Yeah,
want to.
it
And
sounded to
then,
the point where he was like echoing.
oh yeah,
I mean, yeah, the
yeah.
actors all did pretty good.
I
I
can
was just
compliment
more
him.
I was more impressed with Batista and the camera work. As somebody who's
How
is thinking about doing something.
how do you feel about the opening sequence with Wen and Leonard in the open, like it's tilted cameras for like a long time, like up close to their faces.
Oh, the close-ups.
Yeah, close ups with the
I
camera
was
being
okay with the
tilted closer.
close-ups because I know that's something Shyamalan likes to do. He likes the close-up. He likes to make, and I think for the particular scene, he wanted to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah,
So
but
the close-up, the increasingly closer close-ups, I thought were fine. I thought that added to the tension of the scene,
I liked it,
the
but
uncomfortability of it.
I liked it, but not at first because I thought that starting it out that way was very strange as a choice because nothing was really happening other than, of course, Leonard being a stranger to Wen. But he was being relatively calm, so I thought the best place to put it was when Leonard first started looking back to the forest where he's expecting the others to come. And
Mhm.
at that point, I thought at that point you should put to the cameras because it shows that he's panicking a little bit, that he's being a little bit in distress over what's about to happen.
Um,
It
that's
would have been
understandable, but
it would have been my first direction shot.
I understand what the direction was behind that. I was like, okay, if the goal is to make you feel uncomfortable, then this is an adequate choice to do so. To increasing, just to keep it there for as long as possible. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, Shyamalan, you getting a little inspired behind that camera?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little inspired. Yeah, no, this felt like Shyamalan woke up a little bit, didn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he found something that was interesting to him.
Yeah, this felt he's felt a little more passionate. I mean, I feel like he's passionate about everything he does. He just doesn't do it well all the time.
No,
Like I don't know. Holy shit!
yeah,
Was
maybe he
what
need,
was
maybe he needs co-writers.
I don't know. Was Last Airbender passion or were you drunk that day, buddy?
Was the happening
Shyamalan.
passion?
I've never seen that happening.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, I bet. Is that movie rated R?
Yes,
Huh.
want to say so.
Nice. Well then,
Um, yeah.
for the apocalypse scenes, what's your favorite one? Like, it's an odd question, but I kind of it was pretty tense when all the planes were coming down from the sky. That was
Uh,
something.
I had no reactions to any of those scenes. I'm gonna be honest.
None of them at all.
No.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
as
wasn't
a
I wasn't expecting them to show scenes from the apocalypse. I know like the second trailer or something had all of that,
Mhm.
but in the first trailer, I thought that they wouldn't show the events happening, but they would present it to us with the world outside of the cabin just being the woods, how the natural order of things changes. Something like that, something subtle. I didn't think they would straight up just show scenes of planes falling out of the sky or tsunamis.
I mean, if you got a TV in there,
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, that's the thing. You gotta have a TV in there.
If there's a TV in that cabin, because it's an Airbnb. So
You know what I would have done? Like maybe I would have like just taken the TV away, make it a cabin like with no TV, just a radio.
Also, what the fuck is a cabin doing in just the middle of fucking nowhere that's an Airbnb?
I have no
That's
idea.
got no cell reception, but it's got cable signal. So there's fiber running around this area.
Yeah. Good ass question.
And if it's not cable, it's a smart TV. Okay.
Yeah.
You just told me service doesn't
Sure.
work out here.
Yeah.
Where's
Smart
the
TV
router?
going.
Is there a router? Is there a
Yeah,
router?
router.
Is
Yeah.
there a router? Because with a router, and it's a smart TV, then fuck me.
Yeah. I would have taken out the TV and I would have put a radio. And at that point, we can hear the radio talking, and we can imagine this shit happening to the world. You know, leave us to the imagination of what the four of them described, and we can make it up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been something, I don't know, something I guess unique a little bit, but it's the 21st century with that.
Yeah, and there's a TV in there, so use the TV.
Well, fuck it, have it take place in 1970s. Yeah,
I thought the movie was going to take place in the past for a bit, but then it didn't.
yeah, no, it's the future.
It's the
Most
current
homophobic
time.
era of our time. I understand Andrew's frustration, of course. Yes.
Yeah. I don't really have too much to say more, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
I thought it was, a serviceable film. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just liked it a lot because of Andrew, Eric, and Leonard. I think that was like most of my praises towards it.
What would you rate it?
I am at a 4. 4 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
A lot lower than I thought.
Oh well, my enjoyment of it is like a 7 at best. Probably, I would see it again just to, I don't know, catch some stuff about it. See Leonard, Eric, and Andre again. Andrew. Goddamn, Ian Black. Damn it. Yeah, see them again. But yeah, no, it's not a very good movie. Yeah, sticking to a 4.
Okay.
Say 4.
I'm at a 6.5.
Wow.
It was initially at a 7, and then I was like, no. And so I dropped it down to a 6.5. Yeah, I think the movie's okay. There's enough there for me to, find enjoyment, find it passable, but not enough.
I don't even know what I would call it for like a viewing experience. Like, I don't know if I would call it fun.
Yeah, this is the kind of movie that, like, it didn't do very well over the weekend.
Really?
Like, it dethroned Avatar, but Avatar made 10 million last weekend, or this weekend. And this movie only made 14 million.
Might get it back up because I was at a pretty good showing with a theater.
My theater was like maybe half full.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, I went to O'Neill.
Yeah.
And they put us in the big theater, so
I mean,
all the theaters there are big theaters, but like
the biggest one.
Everybody took the top seats. Nobody sat anything below the middle.
Yeah.
So when I mean half the theater was full, I mean basically half the theater was full. Which is
a lot of
fine.
for it.
Fine, but you're gonna think still 14 million's not great. Not a great start. And
well, what's the I don't know, budget for the movie?
Great question. I have no idea.
Budget.
But considering it's
It's 20
basically
million.
20 million,
Yeah.
so it needs to make like 50, 60 to recoup costs.
I think it'll be okay, honestly. Probably.
It's got another week. It's got
For
another
what?
week because in the 17th is Ant-Man.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it's got another week at most to recoup some costs. And the reception to it has not been great. So I don't foresee this being a hit.
Yeah. Who really knows?
Yeah, well. Yeah, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah, but again, viewing experience, I wouldn't call it fun. I would just call it engaging.
Yeah.
You can be engaged by it. I was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that pretty much sums it up, I guess,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is our most passionate review yet, guys.
No,
This is just a warm up. Say.
yeah. This is a movie just we wanted to talk about and kind of get back in the swing of things. But
Yeah,
once
maybe
we
we'll
do
do
once we do Ratatouille, you'll see
maybe
passionate. You'll
maybe
see
we'll do
passionate us.
other Shyamalan films that are better.
Shoot, I should watch Unbreakable again. So
You should. It's so good.
I've seen it. I just gotta watch it again.
Exactly. It's so good. Again, Six Sense is better though. Just saying.
That's fine.
Well, honestly, I don't even know that. I'm not even confident about that statement. I don't know. They're both so good.
Well, I mean, Sixth Sense was like defining moments kind of movie.
Yeah. I mean, the twist is kind of obvious.
But
Let's just
like,
say that. But
is the problem with the Sixth Sense is like you kind of know the twist already, and so
yeah,
that kind of fucks a lot of the movie.
yeah,
You already know, you know. It's not like a movie like Empire Strikes Back. Like you already know Darth Vader's Luke's father.
who is going
It
to know
doesn't,
that?
but it's well, everybody's heard "I am your father."
No, no. Like, imagine yourself in the time back
Oh,
then with
no,
like
obviously
an
back
19,
then
yeah,
nobody knows,
80.
right?
Yeah, precisely.
Same with Sixth Sense. Back then nobody knew, but now everybody knows.
Wait, here's the thing. I feel like watching Sixth Sense back in 1999, people would have seen that coming, given the fact that M like kind of gave it away in the beginning of the movie.
Well, nobody kind of knew. That's kind of the point
Okay,
is
well,
that it
here's the thing.
was such a
I knew.
it was a massive surprise. Like people did not see that coming, and then it happened. It went, holy shit! You got to go see
It
that
was
movie. It was
it was
insane,
so obvious though.
right? But that's you. You got to think back then.
Right. People weren't dumb back then. I hope not.
It's not saying people weren't dumb.
No, of course. But like comparing that to Empire Strikes Back, where there's no tease
I'm
of
not
that
referring to back then. I'm referring to people now who already know that. That I was not referring to people back then. I was referring to like now when you go watch these movies now, you already know this big spoiler, right? Everybody already knows.
Yes.
So when you go back and watch not Empire Strikes Back because that doesn't hurt that movie. But you go back and watch Sixth Sense, you already know like the movie's kind of riding on that twist.
Uh,
So it makes watching that movie like a little odd because you kind of already know what's going on.
yeah, that's every movie that you rewatch. Well, not to say every movie's odd. I don't agree with the sentiment that watching Six Sense again is odd because you know the twist already because you've seen it.
That's
Because
not the
there's
that's not the
there's still
point.
uh,
The point was that because that movie is relying on its twist so heavily, that does kind of mess with the movie a little bit. Now, of course, if it's If not, if the knowing the twist only enhances the movie, then enhances the movie. It is what it. I can't say whether or not it does or doesn't. Just saying that's a thing that can happen.
Yeah, so it's very subjective, the experience. I was just talking about the the twist like by itself, how it's pretty obvious. Anywho,
Yeah. Anywho.
I mean, Shyamalan and his little twist. So let's
Yeah.
say, what is a Shyamalan movie that doesn't have a twist? That's Airbender, probably. Shit.
Yeah. Lester Bender.
What is the
Yeah.
best M. Night Shyamalan twist?
The Village.
What happens in there?
It's not doesn't actually take place in the past.
Is that what it's about?
The entire movie, you're essentially told that this is like a 14th century town, and then at one point a character walks kind of away, and then you're on a modern day street corner where there's cars driving by,
Oh shit.
and you realize it's an isolated town where people return to um the times of old. It doesn't
Wow.
make that movie good, but
Hmm.
it's an interesting twist.
They would have gone with Unbreakable, the Mr. Glass killing everybody in the train. That was him. That was him all along.
I could have also went Split being in the Unbreakable universe.
Yes, that was
That
quite
one
sick.
that one was big. That one was a good
Mhm.
one.
And then whatever the fuck Glass was.
What was the twist in Glass?
It's a secret organization that keeps super beings in check.
Is that what it was?
I believe so.
Fuck me.
That's the one that made you go, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
What happens
Um,
in the happening?"
the twist in the happening is that it's the trees.
Oh, that's the twist. I thought that was the whole point of the movie at first, honestly,
No,
from
that's
what
the
I heard.
twist. Because the whole movie's
Oh,
like, oh, why is this happening? What the fuck is happening? And
wait,
then
what?
Mark
What?
Wahlberg just starts staring at the trees and goes, oh, it's the trees.
Yeah, this is an odd thing to say, but what does happen? Like, what is happening in the happening?
People kill themselves. People are dying. Shit's happening. It's a weird movie.
That's just people killing themselves.
No,
Okay,
it's like all sorts of weird shit that doesn't make any sense.
all right.
People are turning weird. Like an old lady pulls out a shotgun and murders somebody. And then she starts acting weird. Like she asks Mark Wahlberg, "Are you gonna kill me in my sleep?" And he goes, "What? No."
That's probably like an interesting concept, I guess. People losing their minds.
But then it's the trees, man.
I wonder how they, is that how he fucked it up because it was the trees?
Well, he fucked it up by writing a bad script with bad dialogue, bad directing, bad performances, and then a really bad twist where it's just like, "What the fuck? The trees?"
Trees. It's not aliens. It's the trees.
It's the trees. What was the twist in Signs again? It was that the aliens were afraid of water.
Is that the twist, or is that like just a plot
I
relevant
don't
thing
remember what
where?
the twist would have been in Signs,
Okay, honestly, I've never seen Signs, so
but I remember that the aliens were afraid of water. That's another thing. Signs scared me as a kid.
oh well.
Shit, even now, if I watch like certain scenes from Signs, it gets me. Even if it's a little silly, it's you know.
And I mean, if I ever see Signs, I don't think I'll take it seriously because I've seen Scary Movie 3. The parody of Signs.
Mm.
You're just jealous because I'm black.
But,
Ah, well,
I
folks.
can't really think of too much.
So much about the dichotomy of M. Night films.
He's made quite a few.
He's made a few.
Some are good, some are not.
I think there's 3 good ones so far. Because the ones that I've seen, they're 3 good ones.
Yeah, he never fails to be an interesting director.
You know, gotta give him props. He cameos the fuck out of his movies a lot.
Yeah, he sure loves being in his own movies.
He does. He loves being a character in his own movies.
Yeah.
I was so surprised he wasn't a character in his own movie.
When he showed up in this one, my dad looked at me and goes, "You know that it is, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, Dad, I do."
Yes, of course.
He started laughing because he showed up, and he's like, "Oh, you know that it is, right?" I'm like, "Yes, Dad, I know who M. Night Shyamalan is."
I think I was pretty flat faced blank when I saw Shyamalan. But like it in Split, he was like almost a whole ass character. Like help.
Yeah, he was like a character in the movie. In Old, he's a whole ass character. Like he's actually important to the plot of Old.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Very funny, actually.
In Glass, he was also a character. He's the same guy. So yes, he would be the same guy, of course.
Do you want to know what the twist was of Old?
Oh, what was it?
So you know how in Old the premise is that they're on this island, and the longer they stay on the island, the older they get.
Yeah.
The twist of it is that the island, the part of the island they're on, is remotely laid out and is doused with a
You got it. Come on, you believe in you.
It is made with a plant chemical that adjusts your age, and they were just testing it.
Really?
Because it's a pharmaceutical company.
That's so fucking lame.
And what's annoying is I'm misremembering some of it, so I'm not being 100% clear. Some of it actually makes sense.
Really?
And it's the problem because it's like, oh, that's it? It's just a pharmaceutical company?
Yeah, that's kind of lame, isn't it?
Like, really? Okay. Interesting.
So the pharmaceutical company just viewing them.
Well, no,
turning
they've
old.
used some of, like, I believe it's the corals, either the corals or some plant that was on the island that they manufactured a chemical out of, and I guess it made them age rapidly.
So how does one of them get pregnant despite just turning old? Like,
Dude, I don't fucking know.
oh, really? There's no answer to that. She's predator.
I don't remember. I quite. There probably is an explanation. I just quite literally do not remember. Yeah, I've tried to wash that movie out of my head. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's that bad in it.
Yeah.
So what's the twist in The Visit?
I don't remember.
Oh, all right.
I don't remember. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
But yeah. Yeah, to put an end to this, that was our section on Knock at the Cabin. And stay tuned for Ratatouille. That one's actually pretty exciting because I've been offhandedly mentioning that I want to watch that movie again.
So many times he won't stop. He won't stop. He talked about the game before he watched the movie. That's crazy.
Yeah, that checks out. But I've seen this movie. I've seen that movie so many times, but I will gladly watch it again.
Yes.
Yeah. That is that. You guys have a good one.
See you later. Oh my god.